China's future, possibly one of the most consequential topics of this conference. And it's a great honor to be sitting in front of Mr. Fenglei. He is known to be the godfather of China's capital markets. People literally, well, not literally, metaphorically kill to spend 15 minutes in front of him. So it's a tremendous privilege we have here. But unfortunately, in a stroke of genius, there is no simultaneous translation. So what will happen for the next 15 minutes is I will ask my questions in English. Mr. Fang will respond in Chinese. And with the help of one of his associates, Oscar, we're going to try and have a conversation in 2 languages. So that's one of the more enduring mysteries of life. But let's proceed. So Mr. Fang, welcome. Let's kick off with a topic that is probably top of everybody's minds, which is China's economic future. For the longest time, since the late 1970s, China's economy had grown at an average of close to 10% almost every year. Until very recently, the economy has slowed, but in the most recent quarter, the economy performed better than expected. So what we would like to know from your perspective is where is China's economic future in the short term and in the longer term?
Okay, thank you. 中国现在没有太多人对中国经济说好啊，我就想，因为这个对一个看法基本上是3个，一个是媒体上的中国、网络上的中国和真实的中国啊。
Good afternoon, everyone. So it's no secret that not many people think positively towards China's economy these days. So I think there are 3 Chinas. One is in the media, the second one is on the internet, the third one is the reality.
基本上，中国现在面临一个很大的压力，4个问题：第一个房地产，第二一个地方债，第三一个这就是中小银行坏账，第4个就是这个居民个人消费在下降。
I think 4 problems are confronting China: real estate, local debts, bad debts of small to medium-sized banks, and consumption.
房地产的问题，经历了一个地产泡沫，问题出现在第2个问题就是，居民的保障房供应量太少，只有20%，所以现在是一个长期调整。
So there had been bubbles in the real estate sector, and there had been a short supply of affordable housing, only 20% or so for residents.
这个方向就是进一步增加居民保障房啊。这个新加坡80%，中国20%是明显太少了。但是我要说的是，中国的房地产的问题比90年代的日本、比08年的美国要小。
So the direction is very clear to increase affordable housing for its citizens. In Singapore, you have 80% of that supplied by the government, whereas in China, it's only 20%. The difference is striking. What I want to stress here is that the real estate problem facing China today is much smaller in comparison with Japan's in the 90s and in the United States in 2008.
如果你考虑到还有3亿人要进入城市，变成城市户口可以买房子，所以这个问题不是经过3年5年可以解决。
So in 3 to 5 years' time, taking into consideration that there are 300 million Chinese people who are waiting to buy their first house, I think then the problem of real estate seems more manageable.
地方债差不多10万亿美元啊，这个我说结构哈，第一主要用于了基础设施建设和公共事业啊，这个是结构问题。
So if you look at the local debts, the total size is about $10 trillion, but structurally speaking, most of the money have been spent on infrastructure as well as on public spending.
中央政府的债务只有占 GDP 21%，是全世界还是最低的了。
Central government debt only accounts for 20% of GDP, which is the lowest among all the world governments.
所以解决这个问题也不是很复杂，但是有一个长期的考虑，就是要这个过程当中有一个这个道德风险问题，所以我觉得可能中央政府更多的考虑是在中央财政、地方财政的关系上要做一个调整啊。
So solving this problem does not seem too complicated, but there are ethical issues at hand. It's true. So when it comes to solving this discrepancy between the central government and local government when it comes to debts, the central government may need to make some readjustments in this regard.
第三个是中小银行，中国的银行差不多有3000多个，但是前6大银行占了资产的60%左右，这个没有太大的问题。那些小银行的问题，也是可以通过重组来解决的，也不是很大问题。
When it comes to banks, small and medium-sized banks, so in total there are 3,000 plus banks in China, but the 6 largest banks account for 60% of all total financial assets, which are very stable. And if you look at the smaller banks, I think they can be restructured, so that's a way out, which is not a huge problem.
真正令人担心的是居民个人消费，在过去3年下降了2个百分点。
The real worrying problem here is consumption, which had been decreasing over the past 3 years by 2%.
实际上，在过去的20年当中，中国的居民消费、居民收入一直是和 GDP 的增速不匹配的，这是一个大问题。
So in another word, over the past 20 years, the increase in consumption has been not in line with the GDP growth.
我个人比较关心的就是3个问题吧。第一个就是名义 GDP 这个要有足够的增长。
Personally, I'm concerned about 3 issues. The first one is nominal GDP. There needs to be enough increase in that.
通常我们在这个实质增长上面要有一般是3个百分点的平减指数，就是你 CPI 要一定增长。这个刚刚中央银行刚刚开始关心这个问题，就是 M2 的增长和社会融资总额要和名义 GDP 增长相一致。这是中国第一次提这个问题，我觉得这是一个很正确的方向。
So 2 to 3, the target should be 2 to 3% growth in CPI, and the Central Bank of China has, for the first time, said something like the growth in M2 needs to be in line at the same pace with the fundraising in the entire society.
这个
范总，时间不是很多。
第二个就是这个汇率问题，我比较担心，就是不能长期放任这种贬值啊。
Second problem is exchange rate. We cannot put up with this long-term depreciation.
第三个就是个人消费吧，刚才我讲过了。
And thirdly, I come back to the consumption issue that I raised before.
谢谢。
Sorry, because of the shortage of time, I would like to very much address 2 other very important and weighty topics. The first is U.S.-China relations. So, quick question. Do you think the presidents Biden and Xi are likely to meet in San Francisco at the end of during APEC? And if they do, what does that mean for U.S.-China relations? If they don't meet, what does that mean for U.S.-China relations?
我想，包括在座的每一个人都希望他们俩见面啊。
I hope that they meet. I think including everyone sitting in the audience.
大概率也应该会吧。
Most likely they will meet.
因为中美2个国家的 GDP 占全球40%，到2050年占60%，都是负责任的大国。
First and foremost, China and U.S. GDPs combined account for 40% of the global total. And by 2050, I think that number is likely to hit 60%. So both countries being giant and responsible big nations.
What does it mean if they meet? What signal does it send to the world if they meet?
我觉得中美关系已经是基本稳定了。
To put it in one sentence, I think the ties between China and U.S. have basically stabilized.
如果不见面，可能就是什么突发事件， 可能是美国人又要搞什么事情。
It would take an accident of some sort if they did not meet. Maybe the Americans will be up to something. Again.
大概率不会。
So I don't think that's going to be a likely scenario, though.
Okay. Another question, a final question to ask you to predict the future. Will there be war between mainland China and Taiwan over the Taiwan Strait?
只要台独必定打，这个规矩不是共产党定的，360年前康熙皇帝定的规矩，所以当时收复台湾就是当时台湾想独立。
As long as Taiwan seeks independence, I think there will be confrontation. But this is not something set by today's government. It was a policy set 360 years ago by the Emperor Kangxi. Back then, there was a war because Taiwan sought independence.
所以我就说中美关系稳定，其中一个标志就是美国过去只讲我们承认一个中国，最近几个月你们也看到美国开始讲不支持台独，反对台独，所以我认为基本稳定了。
One of the reasons why I said that the ties are stabilizing is because in the past, U.S. only says, oh, we support one China. But in recent months, they're beginning to say we are against the separation, the isolation of Taiwan. That is why.
Okay, thank you very much. I've been
没有了，谢谢。
okay. I've been signaled to stop, so thank you very much. And please join me in thanking Mr. Fang. I'm sure he's open to questions and interaction with you. Thank you very much.
谢谢各位。